I'm breaking the rules. I love and hate this device. Technically, it's a phone, but 95% of the time, it's a gateway to another world, an online world, a world we created, a world we built, and a world we continue to shape. But it's also a world that's changing and shaping and influencing us. I want to ask you, are you happy with the online world that we've created? Are we happy that the online communities we've built are prioritizing the right things? Are the platforms that we use structured to enable us to be intentional about who, how, and what we connect with online? Are we focusing on what really matters to us, like safety, connection, and community? Or are you faced with that endless stream of advertising and influencers and, like me, a little too easily distracted by their latest sneaker drop or celebrity spat? Do we value the content that is shared online? Or do we simply consume it mindlessly? And as art and culture become digitally native, who owns the copyright? Who derives revenue from that content that we're viewing online? And importantly, who, or perhaps more accurately, what, decides what we should and shouldn't see? As opinion and fact are shared with the same weight, we're often unable to tell the difference. We get sorted into silos, dropped into echo chambers. We become too scared to voice our true opinions for fear of a pile-on, or perhaps more dangerously, we provoke to drive engagement. In pursuit of those adrenaline-soaked clicks and likes, we self-censor and we censor others. We're micro-targeted, profiled to, sold to in a way that means, yes, I might get that new designer and washable rug that my reels really think I want, but possibly the government and political outcomes that I don't. Many current social media models prioritize quantity and engagement with content over creativity and connection. It might not always be obvious to us, but we're paying a really high price for all that free content. Both user control and online safety suffer. We've gone from being the creators and the architects of that online world to being reduced to data points, to be manipulated for other people's gain. Are we happy with the world online that we've created? It's okay to say you're not. I'm not. Given the choice, we'd pick a different path. We would choose not to be anonymously abused, micro-profiled, relentlessly sold to. We wouldn't be the product. And so we should be suspicious of anyone who wants to maintain that status quo. Because guess what? It doesn't actually have to be this way. We created this world, so we can change it. We can keep what works and bin what doesn't. And the metaverse is coming, so we need to make those decisions now, and we need to make sure they're the right decisions before it's too late. Well, that was all a bit heavy, wasn't it? But actually, the reason why I'm here talking to you today is because I'm an optimist, and because I know that things can be done differently. It's what I'm doing in my current role and what I've worked towards my entire career. So my confession is I'm a massive nerd. And with my background in law and my specializing in online privacy, cyber, and online safety, I have spent years looking at this online world. I first started looking at it in connection with an investigation into the use of personal data, profiling, and behavioural manipulation in connection with a small little UK political event called Brexit. You've heard of it. So, what that did for me was it showed me the power of data, the power of the online world to influence the outcomes in our real lives. And I was hooked. It became clear to me that actually the framework of legal protections that we had was entirely inadequate to protect us in the online world that we created, in the online world we're spending more and more time in. So it truly matters. So that's why I ended up here. Well, not here on stage, but here in terms of my role at OnlyFans. I'm sure many of you will have heard of OnlyFans. Can you raise your hands if you have in the audience? Ooh, lots of hands raised. Wait. So that's good, lots of hands raised. That's not surprising because we have 220 million users worldwide and 3 million creators. Can you put up your hands if you're a user or a creator on OnlyFans? Oopsie. There were big numbers of users and creators, and everyone's suddenly being a little coy about whether they are in fact a user or a creator on OnlyFans. So for those of you who haven't heard of OnlyFans, OnlyFans is a subscription-based social media platform where creators from every genre, chefs, musicians, comedians, people who are obsessed with mushrooms, like every single conceivable person you can imagine who's sharing content, who's over 18 and abiding by our terms of service, can appear on our platform and monetize their fan base. But the reason why people are being a little coy about whether they are users or creators on OnlyFans is because we're associated with a particular type of content. Spicy content. Adult content. And when you host user-generated content, particularly user-generated adult content, and you're honest about it and you're proud of it as a website, you need to make sure you have specific safeguards in place to build a safe online community. OnlyFans is a truly disruptive business because of the fact that we are open about hosting adult content, because we're a social media platform which is only for adults. And being disruptive in that way often forces you to think and do things differently. Sometimes you don't have a choice, right? And so we have had to follow a different path. We've had to innovate. And that desire and need to innovate, to do things differently, to throw out the old thinking, to pick what matters, has enabled us to build a community that is safe, that's better, that's nicer, that's kinder, that also contains adult content for adults, but the type of community that we all want and deserve online. A safer, better, more connected internet on OnlyFans. I can see a few raised eyebrows, and so I want to explain to you what it is that we've done differently from other social media platforms that means we are this very different community. We're a better online community because we know the age and identity of everyone on our platform. So to become a creator on OnlyFans, you need to provide us with 9 different forms of ID. First name, last name, government ID, picture of you with your government ID, all your other social media handles, because we want to know who you are on the rest of the internet too. Bank account details, and in the US, your social security number, so we know who you are. And to become a fan, you have to provide your first name, last name, email address, payment method, and in some jurisdictions, including the UK, you have to do either age estimation or identity verification. Again, we know who you are. So, while governments are still wrestling with the pros and cons of age and identity verification, both in the UK and elsewhere, we have embedded that into our business practices because it's important to us to make sure that that adult content is just for the adults. No children allowed, nobody under 18 on the platform. I have 2 daughters, and I don't want them stumbling across things that are not suitable for them on any platform on the internet. What we discovered, though, after we had put these safeguards in place to ensure that minors didn't access content on our platform, was that the lack of anonymity fundamentally changed interactions. When people are not anonymous, they behave differently. Our OnlyFans creators are followed by their fans. They're not pursued by trolls. They have nicer, kinder, more supportive conversations. The musicians on our platform drop their new albums with excitement, sharing it with their fan base, rather than worrying about some snarky comment from some random person behind a computer screen. And when we see bad behavior, we can act on it. Again, we know who you are, and we know where you live. And so in the event in the event that you're behaving badly on our platform, you're not welcome on our platform, and you'll be banned from our platform permanently. And all of this creates an environment where people are accountable, like they are in real life, for their online actions. The second thing that would be a better online world for all of us is if we valued content and if we enabled the people who created the content to make the most money off it. OnlyFans disrupted the social media space when we introduced the subscription-based model. Most social media platforms are advertising revenue-based. We were founded in 2016, and that was a time when nobody thought that anyone would ever pay for content. The online world was free, right? We could just have this smorgasbord of free content all the time, and that's what we all wanted. But actually, since 2016, we've paid out over $10 billion to creators. That's $10 billion in the back pockets of real people creating and sharing the content that we're all consuming online. That's 10 billion reasons why all the talking heads were wrong. They're wrong now, and they're definitely going to be wrong in the future. And it's part of a wider creator economy, an economy that's said to be worth over 100 billion and continues to grow. And that's because actually we should value art and creativity. It matters. It's part of what makes us human. And creativity is worth so much more than 0.04 cents on a stream. It's worth the lion's share of payments. It should be a fair world for online creators. And with that fairness for creators, also comes fairness for users. Because then the user is not the product. The user's data is not the product. And so we know that things are better without ads, and things are better without algorithms. That's right, no ads, no waiting 4 seconds for your mandatory skip ad button. Instead, you, the user, choose who you subscribe to. You curate your own content. You don't pay for things you don't use. You don't see things you don't want to see. You don't get force-fed content, profiled based on what your previous likes are, your dwell time on something else, or the fact that maybe you're quite partial to French Bulldog content. Nope. Instead, you only get what you choose. It's not an all-you-can-eat content buffet, and you are not the product. When I look at my own social media accounts, I look at the number of people that I follow. In some cases, it's hundreds. In some cases, it's thousands. And I think about whether I have any real connection with that content. Am I really connecting with those creators? And the answer is, in most cases, I'm not. So what's different about a subscription community where you choose who you follow and you choose the content? This most amazing thing happens. It becomes a two-way dialogue. It becomes an actual online community. An online community where you're connecting with people who you like, who are interested in what you do, in what you say, and who value your content. Not connecting with the haters. Not connecting with the people who want to shout or be mean or send you death threats. Not the folks who get offended for offended's sake. I think you know who I mean there. And people who share a genuine and active interest in specific things, specific people, specific music, specific comedy, specific sports, or adult content. Like the good old days. Real community based on a real two-way connection, where there's a positive choice to join and share. Not one person trying to influence another, but people sharing an experience. And this brings us to the final fundamental tenet for what, for me, can be a better online world, a better social media: trust between users and platforms. As we mentioned on OnlyFans, we have creators from all different types of genres. Many of them are sharing things like downhill mountain biking content, or behind-the-scenes fitness videos, or the latest music drop. But some people are choosing to share very intimate things. Some of the most intimate things, things many of us don't feel comfortable talking about without blushing. They share that on our platform without any end-to-end encryption. None. And that's because we moderate all of the content on our platform. Every text, every message, every audio clip, every live stream, everything gets moderated. We see everything. But we're doing it to keep our community safe. We're not doing it to get them to stay online more. We're not doing it to suggest content. We're not doing it to sell them sneakers, rugs, or get them to watch anything else. We're literally doing it to keep them safe. And no one gets special treatment. No shadow banning, no upvotes, nothing along those lines. It's the users and the creators who are in control of the content that they see online. At OnlyFans, we've created a different online world. It's a world that's fair, where the people who share their content receive fair compensation for it, whatever that content might be. They own the copyright. They profit the most from it. We've created a community which puts user and creator control at the heart of the business model. It's not a byproduct. It's not something we've tacked on when the ad revenues started to fall off a little bit. It's fundamental to how we do things, because that's what we all want. We want control and safety. We want to feel safe online. We want to feel physically safe, and we want psychological safety. We don't want people to be mean to us. We want a world where people are in control, where they can see the information they want to see, share the content they want to share, and really be a true online community. So, back to this old thing. I love and hate this device, but I'm confident that if all of us today start to think differently about online safety, start to act intentionally with our eyeballs, with our subscriptions, with our data, with the content we choose to consume, we can demand and shape a better online world, a better social network. Maybe then this device will be a gateway to a better online world, and I can love it just a little bit more.